a special guest as well. Kenny, who is actually part of ViewsML, is joining as well. So he can talk about, we have a bit more substantial discussion, but let's see if I can share my screen before can everyone see a screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So we don't have a lot of time, but, I think certainly, I think one thing that has happened in the past 2-3 years that there's been a rapid rise of companies that are using AI machine learning. And I was kind of curious when what was kind of our portfolio, just a kind of snapshot and what's happening from an opportunity perspective more broadly. So I thought it'd be timely, just to give a bit of a summary, very high level and simple, but as you can see that, in terms of if I can advance my slides, there you go. There's lots of opportunity because AI, artificial intelligence, which is kind of like the big component, but also machine learning, deep learning, various components of AI as we kind of refer to it, is used in various industries. And a lot of companies are leveraging upon it for various workflow automation, replacing workers, making it more predictable, reliable, and in particular, in healthcare or health tech. What's one segment that we have in the space in our portfolio, and what is actually a portfolio composition when you look at the various avenues of healthcare. So it can be from training, wellness, research, detection, diagnosis, decision-making support, treatment, long-term care, and telehealth. So really there's lots of applications, and we're just kind of scratching the surface as we know today. And there is certainly a lot more opportunity that is going to be available in the future. And if you look at the current portfolio, because I think it's also that when we talk about portfolio, what are they actually using AI or machine learning or deep learning to do? Is it core, not core? So if we take a look at 3 different companies, one is H2UO, Sonic Insights, ViewsML. Interestingly, core tech for 2 of the companies, the top 2 companies, they're not actually using AI techniques for their core product offering. They're really using a physics-based model to do the work that is required. But ViewsML is actually using a combination of AI machine or deep learning for cell morphology. So interesting. I thought kind of, there's a bit of certainly segmentation of portfolio, and what is machine learning or AI being used for those 2 top companies? Well, actually they're using it for predictable or optimization of certain functions. So Sonic Insights is using machine learning to do tissue segmentation, something that you would actually have someone, sonographer, do something. You can actually have an untrained user, for example. But ViewsML is actually using AI as their cornerstone of the product offering. Any questions from the audience?
George, it's Mina.
Yes.
One question is, there's a different in terms of the trend going in terms of getting funding. There's a difference between the general AI, the generative AI. Could you speak to whether this is part of the generative AI or general AI?
So from a trend perspective, it will certainly, I think that people would acknowledge and agree that generative AI is certainly a hot area of focus. AI has been around for a while. I think the companies that we have are more of a classical definition. But hopefully I kind of answered your question. And I just, is that kind of clarified or answer your question, or
yeah,
you're looking for different? Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, so I thought it would be nice to have a bit more of a substantial discussion with one of our portfolio companies, Vusa ML, just to kind of give everyone a bit more understanding of how the AI or machine learning is actually used in a use case, and what is the kind of outputs from the use of technology. So I wanted to invite Kenny itself. And Kenny, are you there?
Yeah, George, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Great.
Okay, perfect. And my apologies, everyone. Hello. I'm unable to kind of put my video on as I had to take this en route to another meeting, but I certainly welcome the opportunity to see you all in person at one point. But thanks for allowing me the opportunity to speak for a few minutes on what we've been up to and what we're excited about moving forward. So Vusa ML is really, as George mentioned, using AI deep learning to innovate on a particular lab process, which is used across the gamut from basic research through to clinical diagnostics. So with this, to set the stage for context, when you think about precision medicine as an example, it's really all about tailoring a treatment to a given individual. And the way you do that is you identify the differences or the genetic differences between patients. To do that, you use biomarkers, or sometimes called companion diagnostics. And when you do that, an example is on the right, where it allows you to visualize where different proteins or biomarkers, so in the case of this example, in the red is one protein called PD-1, in the green is another one called PDL1. Those are biomarkers, and those are detected using IHC or immunohistochemistry, as they help visualize the spatial expression between those. And then in the case of clinical diagnostics, a pathologist will then make a decision as to how to treat or the treatment pathway based on that. So next slide, please. So this is on the left, the schematic of the IHC process itself. The details aren't really that important, but just know it's a long, arduous process. It takes days to complete, and it requires significant lab infrastructure, expertise, and the results vary. The innovation with our technology, and thank you, George, and actually maybe just advance one more too, thank you. The innovation with our technology is using AI deep learning to actually bypass all of the physical steps associated with IHC. So really what it produces is a virtualized predicted output of the equivalent of what they would normally see underneath a microscope with the click of a button, literally. And really what that therefore conveys is that there's 100% in the time savings associated with this lab process, 50% in the budget savings, as well as a richer data set because we've now gone digital. So there's all sorts of quantitative tools we can layer on top of that. So it really results in a 15x return on investment for every dollar spent by the customer on this. Next slide, please. So just to set this up before, George, you hit play, this is our cloud-based app, which houses our AI algorithms. So our AI algorithms, you can think of for each biomarker, we would train up an algorithm to therefore virtualize that given biomarker. And a customer can therefore then upload the slides to this portal. And then as they are uploaded, then at that point, you can load them. And then George, if you just hit the play button, you'll see that this is one of the example images that is loaded on. And then shortly on the left, we'll go ahead and select an algorithm for a virtual biomarker, and then we're going to select that display prediction. That just now was the real-time output of a virtualized IHC. So as opposed to that days-long process that I mentioned earlier, you can see the output is literally in seconds at that point. Okay. Next slide, please.
There you go.
Thank you. And so if you kind of circle back to that original intro slide, you think about where is the applicability. Yes, we started off with context around precision medicine, but really from a biopharma perspective, there's immediate opportunity from an R&D perspective as it relates to drug development. Also, by extension, in helping develop companion diagnostics with biopharma as part of their precision medicine strategy. And then finally, within clinical diagnostics, of course, as well. And, I think because of the regulatory considerations, focusing as our beachhead market on the biopharma side of things is really where our heads are at. And that's why you see the priority placed on top of this. So with that, I'll thank everyone for their time.
Hey, thanks, Kenny. And hopefully everyone found it kind of useful to see a use case, because in my former life, I actually competed with Roche, or formerly Ventenum, now Roche, and Dako, which is actually big into IHC and also into CDX or so again, it's certainly an emerging area. Pathology is one of the most difficult areas to change, but technology and digitization and also the integration of AI machine learning to annotate and look at different ways to visualize is super important to how we change the whole framework of what's done in healthcare or health tech. Hey, questions, comments? All right. Well, hopefully people found that interesting. And thanks, Kenny, for dropping in and giving a bit of a background on the use case. And I guess we can kind of move into the social aspects of the meeting.
My pleasure.